Anyway, so they played the entire album of Grace, like acoustically, basically, and the whole thing, I am like crying through the whole thing.
I know that feeling.
Totally crying through the whole damn thing like a big old poontang. And then he does the last song, and I get up and I feel changed. Like, oh my God. I said, I need to go outside, So I'm waiting through all these people. Get up the stairs there at Tower, starting to go out the door, and I hear, hey! And I don't think anything of it. People are talking, people are yelling.
Yeah.
Keep kind of going, and I hear again, a really loud, hey, you! And finally I turn around, and through this sea of people, I see Jeff Buckley's Richard Gere-looking face,
Yeah.
And he's looking right at me. And I go, and you do the thing that they do in movies where you look past your left shoulder, your right shoulder, like, is he talking to you talking to me?
Yeah, you talking to me.
And I said, are you saying me? And he was, yeah, you fuck. So I was like, oh my God, so OMG, way before OMG. And I walked down the stairs and I walked straight through all those people, and he was waiting for me kind of behind this. It was behind where they were playing. It wasn't a backstage. It was like I don't know. It was just kind of a private section or whatever.
That was like a stock room because it's a Tower Records.
It was just on the floor. He was kind of standing out there, and anyway, I walked up and he's looking at me. I mean, and he's beautiful, and I'm going, I do something wrong.
Yeah.
He goes, did you like it? And I go, come again. Did you like the music and everything? And I go, I thought it was one of the dumbest things I'd ever heard,
Yeah.
I said, no, I think you suck. Are you fucking nuts?
Yeah.
I said, I'm out there like crying my balls off, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of probably going to buy this record.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I just really wanted to know what you thought. And I think he probably saw me out there looking like some old granny,
Yeah.
Some weeping old granny. And so we just got to meet, and I asked him for a guitar pick, which I later gave to a guy who was going through a divorce, and he really liked Buckley after I turned him on Buckley. And I was like, I want you to have this pick. He's like, really? It's Jeff Buckley's? I was like, yeah. He lost it a week later.
Oh, put a hex on that guy.
But yeah, I think Jeff, he must have seen me out there just really kind of, I don't know.
Feeling his album, man, probably.
Yeah, he was a spooky kind of guy anyway, we had said a few other things that were really funny, but, we made fun of a few things, and, he had me rolling. I mean, he was really funny,
Yeah. And
then I think it was right after that, then I saw him at the Roxy where he was wearing that fake fur black coat with the red rose. But yeah, he was pretty phenomenal. And this is before the whole, where everybody thinks he wrote Hallelujah thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but he was really sweet and intelligent and very funny, humorous. He had a good sense of humor. I mean,
it's really amazing the amount of stuff that has been released by him since he put one album out and then died.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff he recorded is incredible.
Yeah, I think his mom, thank God, has a lot to do with that. And,
yeah. But
I mean, man, because what was there like, that one album came out afterwards.
Yeah, Sketches from A Sweetheart the Drunk.
Yeah. That came out right around my birthday. I felt like,
wow.
That's all ghostly. Yeah, I really love that. And there were some really great songs on there. They just weren't probably fully recognized like he would have wanted.
Yeah. But then they released the Legacy edition of Grace with an entire second disc of unreleased stuff, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
It's the White Boy, the live White Boy.
Yeah, Mystery White Boy, live at Chennai.
Yeah, well, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, and that went from an EP to like a 3-disc set.
Where he does that, what's his name? I like to play for people where he's doing that, the way young lovers do.
Oh, yeah.
And right at the end, he hits those they go, how many octaves do you have? And he had cartoon. He hits cartoon note. And people, I like to watch their eyes when I play that one section. And they always look at the speaker like, did I hear that correctly?
Yep.
And there's no effects because it's at a cafe. I mean, that was pretty frightening.
Yeah, and I like the little vignettes in between where he's doing little bits of comedy and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, the little I met with him, you could tell that, he was somebody you'd like to be around and spend time with,
So,
that was really sad. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I literally got into him just after he died. A friend of mine said, "You've got to listen to this." I said, "This is amazing." He died. When?
Yeah, it was really weird. And when he died, that same guy that took me to see him, this Michael character, he actually called me on the phone out there in Los Angeles, and he said, "Did you hear the news? Did you hear the bad news?" And I go, "Oh, shit." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Fuck, because Bob Dylan was sick that week."
Oh.
Fuck, God damn. I said, "Bob Dylan's died." And he goes, "No, Jeff Buckley." And I didn't know which one was worse. Then I was really torn up,
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
And so that was this extra, roller coaster, What was that little bell? You run in a convenience shop?
I didn't even hear that. I think that was my wife. She just left I think she came in and left without me knowing.
Sounded like those, because now society is pretty much run off sound tones. Like if you watch a lot of films like I do, or you just listen to Life, everything is like, you walk into a convenience store.
Yeah. And if it's not that, it's them yelling at you. "Hello, welcome to..." I live about 75 miles due west of D.C. And so whenever I go into D.C., even in the town I live in, now that I think about it, you walk down the sidewalk and even the signal lights beep for blind people. I think there's like 4 blind people in my entire town, if that. But we got to have everything set up so they don't get run over.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of like pre-Blade Runner.
Yeah, well, hey, that's history now, technically.
Yeah, it's strange out there.
All right, now when we were discussing doing this show, you threw out some other stories that kind of intrigued me, and I want to know a little bit more about some of these.
Okay.
You threw out that Maynard James Keenan thinks you're weird.
Well, he did. Yeah.
How did you meet Maynard, and what the hell could you possibly do to make him think you're weird?
That was, when they first started out, and I went from Seattle to Hollywood.
Okay.
And my friend, or ex, Marnie, she goes, "You really need to see these 2 bands in general. They're playing tonight." I mean, everything was always so weird. She goes, "They're playing tonight at Club Lingerie. It's Tool and Rage Against the Machine." And I go, "Never heard of them." And nobody had. I mean, and I think there was probably maybe 50 or 60 people there, maybe, Wow. So you're just right in the front to see what she's talking about. Yeah, and both of those bands, pretty intense when they first started out. Because there was no light show. There was, it was, Maynard would come out and do his thing, and that was pretty intense. And then, of course, Zach from Rage would come out, and that was pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
So, but after that night, I said, you just knew that they were going to take off, And they would play more shows around town, smaller shows, and I can't think of this, man. It was an old punk rock kind of club. My memory. But it was really small. And Tool played there, and the ceiling fell out a bit. But I went up to him. I think I was trying to talk to him about crow birds, like crows,
Okay.
And he was friends with another friend of mine. It was a pretty strange time. But I don't know. But he's into Carl Jung, or however you pronounce that. And
yeah.
I think he had a pet turkey at one time. So, weird people thinking other weird people. Yeah, we're all a bit. I think if I'm at a Tool show, I'm probably pretty weird. It's pretty cool to see the size of them now and that the whole world, and it's become like a complete business machine, and they do what they want. And they get to do it, like he gets to do a lot of his own winery, and so that's pretty cool,
Yeah, and it's amazing to me to think that a band that heavy and that intense was in the number one spot when their new album came out. I mean, they just took over every streaming platform, every chart, everything. And I never, ever would have imagined that when Undertow came out.
Yeah, I thought, that's what I thought. Because I was seeing them at, like, Scientology. Like, we were renting out Scientology, like, auditoriums and...
Like the pre-opiate days.
Yeah, that's when I was, first seeing them. Like Opiate was out, and then Undertow wasn't out yet. But
right.
But now it's a whole different, And their drummer, I met him a few times. Danny, he's from like Kansas or Kansas City, so he's a Midwest kid like I am, and huge guy, but he's got a big heart,
he's an enormous person.
I was trying to understand their cover art, so my questions probably came out a little strange, Plus, it didn't help when I grabbed his balls.
Oh,
just kidding. Just kidding.
So that's why Maynard thought you were okay. So
probably just my questions were weird, and it was in the early days. I mean, he was a different person. I was a different person. But it was great to see them and Rage Against the Machine start from nothing, and to tell my friends, you really ought to check this out. And all they had was demos. So you just had demo cassettes.
I have that.
You have with the wrench on it. Yeah,
the testicle wrench. Yes.
Yeah, and somebody, that got stolen from me pretty quick.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I remember when Opiate I guess Undertow had just come out. I got that, and I'm one of those that when I get into a band and I like them, I go and get everything.
Right.
So I went back and picked up Opiate, and I read liner notes. I love having artwork in front of me that I can touch and hold and read. So I read the liner notes and said, for a cassette of demos or something, write to us here at this P.O. box and send $7 or something. So I did it. And a few weeks later, I get this cassette, and it didn't even say what was on it. I had no idea what the hell was on it. And it's this cassette with like 5 or 6 tracks on it. And that's right there. I can pull it out right now. I know exactly where it is. Hold the place.
Don't do that. You might steal it.
Oh, I know.
I like what you said, where you go, and I know it's not younger kids thing so much anymore, but I like that you get, that's how I grew up, is that I remember getting not an album, but a cassette tape by The Cult. And it was called The Cult's Love album.
Okay.
And it was on Sire. I just remember this because, I'm weird. But it was on Sire Records, and it was the first cassette tape that I had seen that was clear.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, because all cassette tapes were black, or they were like
that white,
off-white
gray.
thing, and this was clear. And I thought, oh, that's strange. And I pulled it out, and I remember, however it was manufactured, but it smelled like whatever my idea of Spain would smell like.
Okay.
It smelled really Day of the Dead, Spain, Mexico. It just had kind of it didn't have a food scent. It just had more of a spice.
Okay.
But it had a very strange spice, type scent.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, I grew up like there was usually posters and albums, and then I'm sniffing tapes. And you're always reading the liner notes, and and if you didn't get, where's the fucking lyrics?
Yep.
I'm walking around town singing the wrong shit.
Yeah. No. The worst for me was when you would buy a cassette and you'd open it. First of all, it would have like half the cassette cover would be the artwork. The bottom half was white with the track listing on it. That was awful. And then you pull the cassette out and there's nothing on the other side.
Yeah, that was a rip.
I felt ripped off at that
point. What a rip. I've always loved when people do, just. It's all a part of it. It's everything. It's like almost the five senses, for me.
Yep.
But I know that's not how people listen. It's not younger people's ways. Their ways are not our ways. And
exactly.
I feel like they're missing out on that. But they're picking up that type of stuff in other parts of their lives. So
yeah,
it's all changed. And
it's that having a nose ring for 3 years thing. So, but it's funny because now I'm finding that my kids are picking up bands that I listened to when I was, late teens, early 20s. My daughter's into shoegaze, like old stuff, like My Bloody Valentine, and
yeah, that's always a blessing.
It is. It's look. I hope so. They're all just rating my CDs. I've got about 3,500 CDs down in the room below me, and they're always
at least she's not coming in with wearing assless chaps telling you that she likes Twisted Sister.
That's true. That is very true. But, So I was looking at our text the other day, and I'm reading some of the stuff.
Really quick, I'm sorry. You should get her some Galaxy 500.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check. I've got some. I have to see if she's pulled that out. I'm trying to remember the band she came out with the other day that she loved. It wasn't Lush. It was, I can't remember what it was. It was that type. It was like a shoegazy type of band. And I was like, yeah, you got good taste, kid.
Yeah, I love that.
But you ran into Failure. You'd mentioned an encounter with Pearl Jam, hooking up with Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, Mark Lanegan.
I pretty much met everybody. There's still a few people I'd like to meet, of course, which is always good.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Yeah, because I knew Kelly, the drummer for Failure. I believe that's his name, right?
Yeah.
It's been many moons.
Yeah, Kelly Scott.
He worked over at, I lived off of Hollywood, and the street behind me was like, I want to say, I know it's not called, it was like Green Hill Records or something. He worked at a record store.
Okay.
And we started talking, and then next thing you know, he wasn't in Failure when I met him. He goes, I just joined this band Failure. And I'm like, you joined Failure? Wow. But he was like super sweet. He's real cool looking, and and he does a lot of, I think he does he's a multi everything kind of person.
Yeah. He does everything. He's actually been on this show 3 times.
I'm just glad he's not just wasting away at that old record store.
Yeah. Yeah, he became one of the go-to drummers for Linda Perry with all her stuff over the past few years.
And he records people now, doesn't he?
I think maybe. I'm not sure.
Thinking of somebody else. My memory's wacky.
I know he does a lot of session work for Linda Perry. You can hire him if you want Kelly on a song. You can hire him. It's right on his website. He's like, yeah, I'll give you a quote. And
with this bank account.
Yeah.
I got to grab something. Can you hold, please?
Absolutely. One of the first shows I did, it was actually with Jerry Gaskell from King's X.
Oh, yeah.
And in the middle of it, he's like, I got to piss. He's like, we can either record. He's like, we can either pause or I can just keep going while I piss. I'm like, well, let's just keep going.
Go on, just take a fucking wheel.
So part of the show was Jerry pissing.
All right. Now you start up with, we're back with iAN.
All right, and we're back with iAN. That might be my cue to edit. So, all right, so your music. Let's talk a little bit about that, because...
Wait, we didn't talk about where I met Nicolas Cage.
I didn't even know about that one. All right, so tell me about that, because he's an interesting dude.
That was fun. So we're on Hollywood Boulevard, and we're at the Nick Cave concert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's Nicolas Cage, and I'm like, I've got to meet him. So we get our picture taken, with our old camera, and it doesn't turn out, we wait a week to get back black pictures.
Yep.
That was neat. But then later on during the night, he was having a mild argument with his girlfriend inside of the venue. And I'm feeling pretty dusty. And I walk up and I go, hey, you like Jack Kerouac? And he goes, would you just get the fuck out of here? And I said, and I left immediately. And I was like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen up close. But see, the reason that I'd like anybody to know, it's like, because it's like, wow, you name drop a lot of people. And I go, yeah, of course I do, because the reason is because I grew up in Wichita, Kansas. And I like Wichita, Kansas. I mean, it has things I love about it and things that aren't so spicy.
Right.
It's not so spicy sport. And, but I remember, I worked a lot of jobs here that were kind of unpleasant. And then my boss might be unpleasant. And I just remember thinking, man, am I going to spend my entire life hanging around bosses,
Yeah.
that I don't like? Or am I going to go meet Marilyn Manson?
There you go.
Which I haven't met yet, of course. But it's just that you want to I would rather spend my life. And people don't have to be famous. I mean, I've met a lot of great people from all over the world with PRMC.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not famous, but they're famous to me, normal people that are just warm and wonderful. But I've met so many people on this road I wouldn't have met just staying at that one job that doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I was kind of driven my thing was just to get out in the world and just meet interesting people,
Well,
so
it sounds like you've been very successful at that.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to meet, whether it's Nicolas Cage or, this one dude in Arizona that's not famous,
Yeah.
Just cool people. So that was the drive, just to get out and be inspired by unique people and find out how they live their lives. And, I mean, even... I don't know how many times I've sat on a curb with some bum, and just learned their wacky, street wisdom or whatever, know, or found myself with some guy from the Crips in Kansas City, invited back to play cards at a hotel room, and pulls out his guns and he's like, yeah, I'm the Crips. And my friends are going, Jesus, you invited a Crip back to our hotel room to play cards? I said, yeah, I said, he's cool. And I remember saying to him, I said, man, when I come back to Kansas City, it'd sure be a pleasure, to hang out with you again. And I remember he said, shit, I'll be dead by then, motherfucker.
Oh, wow.
And I have never had anybody say that to me. They're usually like, yeah, here's my email.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, I'll be gunned down by then, baby.
Well, at least he was realistic.
Yeah, but so I've met a lot, just all walks of life, just meeting interesting people,
Well, that's, cool. Yeah, you don't have to be,
it's
famous.
Not about famous people. It's not about famous people.
No, you don't have to be famous to have a good story.
Yeah. I've met a lot of great people. I mean, yeah, it's great when Nicolas Cage screams in your face because you're in the real, the real deal. That was pretty good.
Oh,
Especially at a Nick Cave concert made it even more wonderful.
You work now. Are you actually working on an album now, or is it completed?
It's completed. Trying to. Did I just say trying? Scratch that.
Yes.
Working on getting the album cover and, making it smell like Spain.
Yes.
And doing that. It's because life gets busy, I'm sure you know. Aiming for a February release, but, I don't know. I mean, my fingers are crossed, So I don't say plans out loud.
Right.
Don't announce that to the Lords.
So how did you get Mark Lanegan on it? Because I love Mark Lanegan.
Well, it's just because he thinks I'm cool.
Obviously.
That's a joke. No, pardon me. Kind of, I've been instigating myself into his existence for, 100 years or something. But I fancy what it boiled down to is he actually liked the song that I sent him. I sent him a few songs. I hate bothering the guy, but he has pretty much said in interviews if he likes something a bit, then and he thinks he can do something on it, and what he did was I'm going, why didn't I hear that? That's the great thing about working with other people is that they're going to hear things there that you're not hearing, because you paint a certain way, they paint another, and together it's like, wow, and it's very spooky to me. So I fancy that he liked the song, all right, and he sent it back. He works real fast. And,
cool.
Professional, and he sent that back, and I was floored, and it fit right in perfectly, and he brought a whole new kind of a dimension to it with something very simple that I was going, why didn't I hear that? Why didn't I hear that harmony thing there?
Oh wow!
But he hears that way, and I hear this way, and. But it really added I feel like a different dimension to it that I'm really, happy about and thankful for. So,
is it similar to the stuff you did with T.O. Manuel? Because I was listening, I love The Woman Organic.
And I have not been kind to all the women I have ever loved. Then again, I have never been perfect, my fair share and more of mistakes. But to really ponder the woman as something else, something suppressed, something like deity. Woman is an individual creature most men cannot fathom. Sex, cars, telephones,
that is really cool.
Caps, and loose junk.
And Old Angel Midnight, that's awesome. Is it similar vibe or is it completely different?
Yeah, the work with Tio is more, that's more along the lines of rock and roll and acoustic, and I don't know. He has that kind of Nick Cave and Morricone type of things, and I got to play with him and his band up there in Paris, and just the sweetest people and coolest. We were recording in this. It's not. I want to think of the name of the studio. I wish I could give him a plug, but I just woke up a little while ago.
Send it to me, and I'll just tag him when we do the Instagram post.
That's right. On the tip of my tongue. But we recorded there, and Johnny Thunders had recorded there.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm like crashed out on the couch in a room that Johnny Thunders had been banging around, and, So I think his spirit was still there, and it was really cool recording with Tio. It was, he's an amazing drummer named Leon. That's really cool. And everybody in Paul Slack from the UK Subs was on that.
Oh, cool.
Meeting him, and he's a great artist, and he got a new kitten that I'm in love with. And so that was cool. But yeah, this what I'm doing is removed from that and far removed from BRMC. I think one song has more of that acoustic vibe, you know, more of a, I guess, 80s gun club.
Cool.
City Solution type of thing.
Danielle De Picciotto.
Nowhere near as good as any of that, but, you know, I was going for a certain sound. But the rest of the album is really made with the idea of not having guitar. And made pretty much for people kind of, because life is sped up a bit, I feel, you know, it feels kind of hypertension.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to write Pink Floyd's fucking Dark Side of the Wall. You know, I had no desire to make a really long record, and I had no desire to make really long songs. I saw it more as like people on the subway, because I wrote it in Berlin. So I'm thinking more of people on their way to work or getting off of work or going out for the night.
Okay.
People in cars with busy lives like yourself. And, you know, it's really it's not for people with short attention spans, you know, it's people who are busy. So I'm trying to put a lot in to a short time, you know. Okay. Get a lot of emotions across and use it more like my whole thing was I wanted to be more like a film, not a soundtrack, but I'm using more of those. I'm inspired more by film sounds and effects than I am by Jeff Beck on guitar or this, you know, it's just, it's more of a, if you're doing music for a film or something. So
you're looking more for the feel and the emotion of it rather than...
sounds that resonate emotional, like emotional sounds, but not just drums, guitar, and bass, you know?
Right.
But it's not going to be electronic dance music either. They're going to be songs that have a certain amount of depth, I would fancy, you know?
I didn't picture you as an EDM guy, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm not a DJ. I do, you know, I'd spill my drink on the turntable. But it's just a different approach. I wanted to make more like film score rock and roll.
Oh, I guess. Yes.
You know? And I mean, because I'd like to make kind of a Waylon Jennings type record. You know,
I can imagine that. Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with the whole. I mean, we like a lot of the Peter Hayes from BRMC grew up on a lot of the same stuff, and I mean, country western music, you know, Tammy Wynette. And, I mean, I love all that's, you know, and of course Howlin' Wolf, and you know, and what is it, the Lerman Brothers and Everly Brothers, and I love all that stuff. But
Tom Paul and the Glazer Brothers,
everything, and what's his name? No, Dolly Parton's man. What's it? Porter Wagoner?
Oh, yes, the Ballad of $50.
Yeah. So I love all that, but this was an album that was written about a certain thing that happened, and I was in Berlin where I was really up high, you know, and it was pretty bleak, but I could kind of see the whole city, and you know, and it's Berlin, and of course inspired by David Bowie's Low or Iggy Pop's Idiot, when you know, type stuff like that, and I think I write more in a David Bowie approach where you don't really have a band. I mean, you just, you know, and I mean, there's so much to learn about that, you know, writing, but you listen to like David Bowie's Black Star and you go, you know, it's not.
Right, yeah.
It's a whole different thing. So that was my approach, and to keep it short so I didn't bore anybody and bore them off the tits, you know. Right. And really wanted to keep it short and sweet, and but still emotional, you know, of course. So that's how that came about, or that approach. So the March song, I'm sorry, is I don't know. It's probably more along the lines of Null and Void or Depeche Mode or Massive Attack.
Oh, cool.
It's different. It's a different animal, you know.
How are you going to release it? How are people going to be able to find it?
I've got a certain main man, Kevin Kelly.
Okay.
I got him on that now. He's because I'm not really sure right now how it's going to be. I mean, we're working on many ways to get it, you know. Not like it's in demand. But,
well, after this show, it will be.
We'll see. But it should be like in most formats. I'm not too sure yet where it's all still in the works, you know.
All right. How can people keep up with you and find out when it's released and how they can get it? Like me, how can I get it when it comes out?
Probably just by keeping your ears peeled for my loud fucking mouth. Let's see. Yeah, because I was working on a website, but, you know, there's this born-again Christian guy out there with the same name as me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's feisty. He's feisty. And he's going to fight me tooth and nail to keep his name, you know.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he's not too happy with my competition with him.
Yeah.
He's on there, you know, he's on YouTube, you know. He's like, I'm iAN Ottaway, and this is my song, Jesus Loves Me and You and My Girlfriend. I come out with my stuff, and he's going, damn you, dang you. Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen with that. I've even tried to change the spelling of my name with a little I and a big A-N. And that's just because I don't want to have a name where it's like, my first initial is like capital. Okay. And then A-N is little. There's actually a thought process behind it. It means I'm more humble by the little I. And then put up A-N. So, I don't know. It's probably just my kitten lover side. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen because it's, you know, that born-again Christian has it out for me.
Oh, man. Is there a social media presence where people can keep an eye on you, or do they need to go through the Ask iAN segment of BlackRebelMotorcycleClub.com?
I can be found on the Black Rebel with the Ask iAN, and I'm also, of course, on Facebook. I don't tweet much. I'm going to start Instagramming a little bit more once I get my camera replaced, as it was stolen in Paris. Thank you, Paris, France.
Oh, jeez.
It's my second mugging. I have this look. It's like every time I go there, somebody lifts my camera, tries to get my wallet, and I usually get a ball and bun squeeze.
Man, we might want to look at where you're going.
I'm up by the Moulin Rouge.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That might explain it.
They want to bring me into their nudie shops, and not really. That's what they're saying, as they're, you know, sleight of hand is stealing from me.
See, that would kill me because I love my camera. I went to college for photography. I did it for 15 years or so, and that would just destroy me if I lost my camera.
I didn't lose it.
Well, it was taken from me. Good point.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Like, what is this, a Dickens novel?
Man, I thank you. I really do appreciate you spending so much time with me. I have kept you for quite a while today.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you.